time when I was blind. So won't you forgive me now? But your grace stepped in and mercy, it seen me through. Now I praise your name, Yahuwah, saved by your grace, Yahuwah, Yahuwah. Now I praise your name, Yahuwah, saved by your grace, Yahuwah, Yahuwah, my King. I was searching, the search is over now. I was searching, hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Now I praise your name, Yahuwah, saved by your grace, Yahuwah, Yahuwah. Now I praise your name, Yahuwah, saved by your grace, Yahuwah, Yahuwah, my King. Saved by your grace, Yahushua, Yahushua. Now I praise your name, Yahuwah, saved by your grace, Yahushua, Yahushua, my King.
Hi everybody, my name is Jason.
I'm Caden.
I'm Jaden.
I'm Nicole.
I'm Eli.
And we are the Yahuwah and the Torah channel, and we thank you guys very, very much for hanging out with us, dear family. We love you guys very, very much. As we always say, your family is our family, and our family is your family, and we are all separated by thousands of miles in distance and all different directions on all sides of this world, and we are able to come together in a way that is hopefully pleasing to our Creator. And this is what this channel and this is what this is all about, is obedience to our Creator. And we thank you guys very, very much for joining us. Kate, would you begin with a word of prayer, please?
President Father, another week, another Shabbat, another time of rest. You have brought us all together after a hard week of trials and tribulations. You have brought us back into your rest. And I ask that today's rest, you give us a reset, that you clear our mind, that you clear our soul, that you give us peace, that you give us relaxation on your day, that we can spend this time to fullness with you, that we make the most of this Shabbat, that we take it and we can learn the most we can. I ask that today is reading is what you want us to read, what you want us to speak, that no words come out of our mouths that do not come from you. I thank you for your Son, and I thank you for your will and your Torah and everything that you have given to us to live by and to abide by. We thank you for always bringing us back together on another Shabbat. In Yahushua's name, amen.
Amen. Okay, and so guys, I want to do something a little bit different on our reading that we normally don't do, because it has been one of these, I guess, a crazy week for a lot of us. And one thing that I've been observing is that the people of our Creator obviously are at a war. We are at a war with Hasatan, and the devil does not like us, and he does not want us to be part of the kingdom to come. And as we are reading our weekly readings of Adam and Chawah, it is very, very clear about the war that happened in the Shemaim, and how the Hasatan, the devil, or however, whatever you want to call him, he went to war against our Elohim Most High. And he decided that he was going to take a lot of his little angels along with him. And there was a part in the Adam and Chawah story when we were reading it where the messengers are describing to Adam exactly how that went down. and how that Hasatan went around and he tried to convince every one of the messengers up there that he was a better leader, that he was going to take them to a better place, that serving him, it was going to be something better. And when we are understanding what the war in the Shamayim was and what we are up against as we are basically humans in this land, we are at a disadvantage when it comes to the powers of darkness. But yet we are at an advantage because we have prayer and we have our creator of the universe and we have his son, Yahushua. And so I want to read a little bit about in Revelation. Right now, this is Revelation 12. And I want to read this a little bit because a lot of us are under attack. A lot of us are under extreme attack. And this week was definitely proof of all of that. And before we go too far into this, if our dogs break out, always we'd like to apologize first and foremost. This week we had one of the most dreaded, terrifying incidents in that you can have when you have a pack of dogs, is we had a dog fight. And so they're still on edge quite a bit. And so hopefully nothing weird happens here. And so doing this live is always extremely strange. And it's always more extremely strange after we have had an incident like this, where it usually takes them at least a week to calm down and to get the grudges out from where they're at. So guys, that's just us. And I know there's a lot of you guys that had a lot of crazy stuff this week. So let's talk about this right here. This is Revelation 12, and let's read this and what it means. And for those who are coming out of a Christian religion, for those who have been in Christianity all your lives, we are told that we don't need to keep the laws, statutes, and commands of our Creator. Now, the laws, statutes, and commands of our Creator are found in Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Anything outside of that breaks Deuteronomy 4:2. And so when we are reading in the book of Revelation, we're reading about most likely end-time events. Now, the war in heaven, I believe, has come and it has gone, and the powers that be have been tossed down here. But there's some things that we should pull out of this because they apply to all of us today, especially for those of us who are trying to keep Torah, who have the faith of Messiah Yahushua. So let us begin with this right here. I'll start in verse 7. And there came to be fighting in the Shamayim. Michael and his messengers fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his messengers fought. But they were not strong enough, nor was there a place found for them in the Shamayim any longer. And for those who don't know what this translation is, Shamayim is heavens, and messengers are obviously our friends, the ones who, well, the good messengers are the friends, but there's also the bad messengers. And the dragon is Hasatan. And he and his messengers, when you read the book of Adam and Eve, it gives you a better kind of a detail of exactly how that went down. But there was literally a war. There was a fight, and had Elohim not strengthened the messengers to toss these guys out of here, which was a great thing, unfortunately, they tossed them down to where we are at. So let's continue on. 9. And the great dragon was thrown out, the serpent of old, called the devil and Satan, who leads all the world astray. He was thrown to the earth, and his messengers thrown out with him. And I heard a loud voice in the Shamayim. Now have come the deliverance, and the power, and the reign of our Elohim, and the authority of his Mashiach. For the accuser of our brothers, who accused them before our Elohim day and night, has been thrown down. And they overcame him because of the blood of the Lamb, and because of the word of their witness, and they did not love their lives to the death. Because of this, rejoice, O Shamayim, and you who dwell with them. Woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil has come down to you, having great wrath, knowing that he has little time. And when the dragon saw that he had been thrown to the earth, he persecuted the woman who gave birth to the male child. And the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle, to fly into the wilderness to her place, where she is nourished for a time and times and a half a time, from the presence of the serpent. And out of his mouth the serpent spewed water like a river, and the woman to cause her to be swept away by the river. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed up the river, which the dragon had spewed out from his mouth. Now, this is the part that I would like to talk about right here. This is something that applies to all of us. And the dragon was enraged with the woman, and he went to fight with the remnant of her seed, those guarding the commands of Yahuwah and possessing the witness of Yahushua HaMashiach. So a lot of people, especially coming out of Christianity, are always wondering, what does it take to be saved? And we have learned from Christianity that all we need to do, a lot of us, is raise our hand when we're, whatever, 8 years old, say a prayer, and that's what salvation is. And when you read scriptures, there's absolutely nothing biblical about that. There's no such procedure that we ask our Messiah into our heart. That is not the way it is. The way that we are supposed to find salvation is by being in obedience with our Creator. Now, we're about to go over the laws, statutes, and commandments, but I want to take us over to Revelation 14, because this will solidify what I'm trying to explain here. And that those who are saved, there's two things. There's two things about them. And we're looking at Revelation 14:12 right here. Here is the endurance of the Kadeshim. Now, the Kadeshim means saints. And that is, a lot of people are like, well, I'm not a saint. And I would say the same thing. We're definitely not saints. But the people who are able to be saved are these. Here are those guarding the commands of Yahuwah and the belief of Yahushua. And so if we are looking for that road to salvation, if we are looking for that way to the kingdom to come, if we are looking for a path that is out of this world, which when we are out of this world, it's going to be an amazing thing. Because right now we're surrounded by darkness, we're surrounded by the devil, we're surrounded by the demons who want more than anything to make sure that we do not get into the kingdom to come. He wants us to take us to Sheol, the bad parts of Sheol. He wants us in hell with him. And he does not want us with our Creator because he hates us. And our Creator created us in his image. He did not create the messengers in his image that we know of. We know that we were created in a special fashion, and we were given a soul. We were given a nefesh, but we were given a spirit that we are very close to what our Creator has. When he breathed into us the breath of life, he gave us a piece of him. And it is by this beautiful design that we are all able to breathe, to think critically, that we all have abilities that we are able to see. We can see his word. We are all able to hear. And if we choose to hear his word, and we're able to obey, there's nothing that stops us from obeying our Creator. It is up to us if we want to choose his ways or choose the ways of the devil. And so as we begin going over these laws, statutes, and commandments of today, I'd like you guys just to remember this, and that what we are all about on this channel is we are all about trying to get people into these laws, statutes, and commandments. And when we read through these, I would hope that you would agree with me that these are beautiful things, that they are things that everybody can keep. They are things that we can definitely put to our life, bind to our heart, mind, and soul. And that is part of what we are supposed to be doing. And when we go over these laws, statutes, and commandments, this is one thing that is important, is that we are writing them on our heart, mind, and soul. That way, when we run across issues and incidents and things in this life that may cross the line, we will know because we have written them on our heart, mind, and soul. If we don't repeat them, if we don't go over them, if we don't even care about them, or don't know them at all, you're not going to be able to defend yourself when the wiles of the devil are coming at you. And for those who are in Christianity, I hate to say it, but the devil already has you, because most people are not keeping the Shabbat. They are not keeping the appointed times. They are eating unclean foods, and unclean food includes pig and lobster and shrimp and all of the things that everybody loves. Those are the things we are told not to eat. And all of this is a path of obedience. And just like you would respect your parents and do what your parents say, we are supposed to do what our Heavenly Father has said to do today. So before we begin this, Mr. Cole, who do we have in the chat room?
All right, we have Brother Glenn, we have Jeannie, not of this world, we have Jeremy, Sylvia, Joanna, CA, which is Rhiannon's mom.
Rhiannon's mom, hi.
Dwayne, he's the first time been here with
Hi,
us.
Dwayne. How you doing, buddy?
Zachariah Z, Rhiannon,
Zach.
Damon,
Hi, Damon. Hey,
and Philly.
Hey, Philly's here.
And TC and Lisa.
Ty's here. Yeah. Hey, everybody. And Lisa. Hey, guys. Much love to you. Joanna, all you guys, man. It's so good to see you guys, and it's super, super good to see you guys. All right. Much love to you. And we shall begin our laws, statutes, and commandments. Jay, before that, let's go over real quickly. Let's go over our Deuteronomy. You have that ready?
Shema, yep.
Yes, do our Shema.
Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah Elohim, Yahuwah is one, and you shall love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart, and with all your being, and with all your might. And these words which I am commanding you today shall be in your heart, and you shall impress them upon your children, and shall speak of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. You shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes, and you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates.
Beautiful. All right. And so, guys, here we go right here. We are going over these laws, statutes, and commandments, just like they did many years ago in the temples. We had Ezra, you had Nehemiah, you had all the scribes that were trying to get these people and trying to get Yisrael reciting these, living by them, and making them part of their lives. And so these are blessed things. These are amazing things. And so they are provided to us today because of the hand of our Creator. And He is a wonderful Creator. He's just I have every bit of last respect for our Creator, who has done everything for us. And so the least that we can do for Him is we can be obedient to Him in obeying what He has to do. So let's begin. Number 1, be fruitful.
Number 2, multiply. Replenish the earth.
Subdue it, have dominion over the fish, fowl, and every living creature.
The herb bearing in every tree is for food.
Man and woman should build their own families. Master sin.
Every clean woman that lives shall have food for you.
Do not eat the blood.
Walk before me and be perfect.
Guard Yahuwah's covenant, laws, statutes, and commandments.
Every male shall be circumcised 8 days old.
Teach your children the commands and guard the way of Yahuwah.
Remember Yahuwah's name for all generations.
Keep the Passover, Pesach.
Keep the feast of unleavened bread, matzah.
Okay, and I want to pause on this because there are a lot of deceivers out there, especially on YouTube, and there's people, not even Christians, but they're the people that are between Christianity and between something else. And they will tell you, hey, you don't need to keep the appointed times of our Creator. You don't need to keep the laws. We're all in captivity. And, when you read from the beginning of the book to the end of the book, there is no such thing. We need to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. And a little bit back, we were told over 53 times that we need to keep them and guard them. And you cannot say that you guard something if you're putting them in the trash and you're not doing it. It doesn't matter where we're at, what place in the world we are at. We have a set of laws, we have a set of guidelines, and that's what makes us a set-apart people. When we are walking this set-apart world, when we are trying to be different than the rest of the world, it is because we are keeping laws, statutes, and commandments that separates us. And so this is very important stuff. Okay, there's one Torah for the stranger and the Ebrium. And what that means is it doesn't matter where you're from, it doesn't matter where you've woken up to, it doesn't matter what religion you woke up in. If you decide you want to get on this kingdom road, there's one Torah for you. It doesn't matter. And the Torah for you is what we're reading right here. So these are the laws that our Creator has set apart for us to be set apart. Okay, sanctify all firstborn to Yahuwah.
There are no mighty ones before Yahuwah.
You shall not make graven images.
Do not bring Yahuwah's name to naught.
Keep the Shabbat.
Honor your parents.
Do not kill.
Do not break wedlock.
Do not steal.
Do not make false accusations against your neighbor.
Do not covet anything of your neighbor's.
Do not make an altar from rock that Jewel has touched.
Do not go up to the altar by the steps.
If a man steals cattle, he shall restore it 5 times.
Yahuwah's laws for criminals.
Do not lie with beasts.
No sacrifices to other gods.
Do not oppress a stranger, fatherless, or widow.
Do not charge your brother interest.
Do not, or if you borrow your neighbor's raiment, return to him before sunset.
Do not curse the ruler of your people.
All right. Everybody says it's really choppy.
Okay, hang tight. All right, so give it a second here. Make sure everyone's devices are off here. All right, so let us know when it clears up in between that, hopefully. Give it a second, guys. This is the world out in the jungle, and we are we're living at the jungle rules, and unfortunately part of the jungle rules is the internet is not good. Your internet's off, right, Eli?
Yeah.
Okay, everyone's internet's off? Okay. All right, so we're just waiting here. See if it clears up, guys.
So it's only for a couple people, for some and some aren't.
Some. All right, so we'll just give it a second here and let me know if anything clears up between that.
Okay, so TC closed out and then came back and it was fine.
Okay.
So.
All right, guys. So I guess if you guys are hearing some weird stuff, maybe close out. I would probably blame the jungle internet more than YouTube for sure at this point. Let's continue on, but let us go slow and hopefully this clears up a bit. Okay. Do not eat what is torn of any beast.
No false report.
Do not follow a multitude of evil.
Do not judge unrighteously against the poor.
Bring back your enemy's cattle if you find it going astray.
Help the animals of your enemy.
Stay away from rumors and gossipers.
Take no bribes.
If you oppress a stranger, Do not oppress a stranger. Love the stranger.
Keep your land of rest in the 7th year.
Okay.
Do not mention any pagan names.
Okay, and let's make sure that we still got our clan here.
Some people say they can hear just fine. Jeremy
Okay,
can
fine.
hear. Joanna could hear. So
Okay. All right, so we will continue on, and yep. So guys, let us know if it gets choppy again or whatnot, and we will try to slow this down. Maybe if we talk slower, it will. You don't have as many packets to actually update. Let's try that.
I don't think so.
Doesn't work like
What
that.
anymore?
But it could be the sound of our ceiling too.
It could very well be the sound of our ceiling. It's an all-tin roof, and so our ceiling makes a lot of noise. All right, Commandment 50. Keep the feast of Yahuwah.
Do not cook your goat in its mother's milk.
Obey the ministry Yahuwah sends before you.
Do not bow down to other Elohim.
Serve Yahuwah.
Make no covenant with other Elohim or outsiders of the land.
Do not make or use anointing oil on an immoral person.
Do not make use perfume on an old person.
Do not eat the fat.
Do what you say you're going to do.
Return what is your neighbor's.
Obey Yahuwah's dietary laws.
Okay, let's pause on that real quick while we're sitting here on this. Okay, good to see you, Shar H2 as well. I haven't seen you before, but much love to you. Obey Yahuwah's dietary laws. We don't have much right here, but if you guys notice, this actually includes an entire chapter, which is Leviticus 11, and inside of this chapter, it clearly tells us what is clean food and what is not clean food. And the reason that we have these things is that it is dangerous to us. When you are eating, just as an example, a pig, the pig is able to have parasites and different things that are okay in the pig, and the pig doesn't get sick. But that's why you have to like fry the heck out of the pork and hope that you don't get sick. But if you do some of the stats around the world, people get very, very sick from eating pig. And even in the United States, people get very sick. You have to cook the heck out of it. And, you know, they've done experiments before where you can take a can of Coca-Cola, open it up, pour it on a raw piece of pork, and the worms will actually start coming out of that. And those are the kind of things that our Creator doesn't want us to get sick from. And so He has given us these guidelines. And, you know, as we talk to folks on YouTube and all over the place, the first thing that everybody gets real angry about is they say, well, Jesus made all food clean. And you'll explain to them, first and foremost, that His name isn't Jesus, His name is Yahushua, and that pretty much stops the conversation. But when you explain to them that when He's talking about all food being made clean, He wasn't talking about food. He was talking about a ceremonial hand washing. All you have to do is read that for the chapter, and it is all about washing of the hands. He had a bunch of Pharisees, Messiah Yahushua had a bunch of Pharisees that came to Him and were attacking Him. They're like, why aren't your guys washing their hands? And he goes, the bottom line was, it's not what goes in a man's mouth that makes him dirty. It's how his heart, mind, and soul is. It's what he speaks out of his mouth. And it wasn't that all food was made clean. Never once did that ever happen. And then people will take it over to the dream of Peter, and they will take 3 or 4 verses out of it, and they say, well, look, our Creator said, slay and eat, Peter. That means, and he didn't say it He didn't say it one time. He said it 3 times, slay and eat. But when you read that chapter, Peter's kind of offended at this whole thing. He goes, but Yahuwah, I've never eaten anything, it's never dirty, has ever crossed my lips. What do you mean? At that same time, there's a knock on the door, and he's supposed to go and minister to a bunch of Gentiles. The entire point of that was that it was okay for them to minister to the Gentiles, which in Judaism, which we are not, and which you would not want to be, you stay away from them. In fact, if you see somebody who is not of the Jewish descent, you call them goyim, and there's hate for them, and it's not loving our neighbor, because you already have a bias before you ever meet somebody that if you're not a Jew, that you're a dirty goy. And the whole point of that entire slay and eat Peter was that you need to go take care of the Gentiles, that you need to go preach to them and bring them into the kingdom road. All right, let's continue on. Women's time of separation. Stay away from them.
Obey Yahuwah's hygiene laws.
Keep the Day of Atonement, Yom Kippurim.
Do not uncover the nakedness of your family.
Do not take your woman sister for wife.
Do not lie with the woman in her uncleanness.
You shall not sacrifice your children to Moloch.
Do not be a sodomite.
Be holy.
Do not reap the corners of your field, or you shall not glean your vineyard.
Do not deal falsely or defraud your neighbor.
Do not lie or be a liar.
Pay your workers for the day's wage they are due.
Do not harm their table.
Do not endanger your neighbor.
Do not hate your brother.
To rebuke your neighbor for his sin.
And let's go back real quick, right? And that's the whole thing in these religions of, especially Judaism, that they will label you a goyim, and we have many commandments, including Messiah Yahushua's, that we are to love our neighbor as ourselves. There's never any kind of, well, you only love your neighbor if he's a Jew, or only love your neighbor if he's this. We are told to love everybody around us, and the reason that we are supposed to love these people is you will never ever be able to minister to somebody if you give them a bias. If you all of a sudden, if you make them lower than you. And guys, we're all created in the image of our Creator. There's no person that's lesser. There's no person that's higher. We are all equal in all of this. And so to put on a man-made bias on anyone and to hate them and to not take care of them, there's no way they're ever going to listen to you. And if you want to show somebody the way to the kingdom, it's about love. It is about loving our neighbor as ourselves. It is about loving our Elohim with all our heart, mind, and soul. And if you're violating both of those two, then you don't have the Torah. You don't understand what the Torah is. All right, rebuke your neighbor for his sin.
Love your neighbor as yourself.
Do not diverse your cattle.
Do not mingle your seed.
Do not mingle in a wool.
Do not lie with a taken woman.
Do not eat the fruit of the trees for 3 years.
Spit it out. Spit it out, son. You got this. Okay. Do not practice sorcery.
Do not round your beard or the corners of your head.
Do not call yourself for the dead.
Do not get tattoos.
Do not prostitute your daughter.
Do not defile your temple.
Do not consult the medium.
Respect your elders.
Going back to do not defile your temple. Guys, if you're eating things of like pig, if you're eating these things, your body is having to deal with things that it shouldn't have to do. You're defiling what our Creator has given to us. There's only one thing we're going to ever walk away with at the end of this is our soul. And that is what we must protect at all costs. Protecting our soul does not mean disobeying the laws, statutes, and commandments. You're going to defile your temple by eating unclean food, by eating the stuff that we should not be eating. And that's part of it. There's a lot of things about defiling our temple, but that's just one of them as we're talking about unclean foods. Okay. Did somebody do not consult the medium?
Yes.
Okay, hit it. Next.
Respect your elders.
Have correct weights and measures.
Do not walk in the manners of the nation.
Okay, let's go to that real quick, right? Walking in the manners of the nations. What exactly does that mean? Gentlemen?
That means doing as nations do. That means like celebrating. Everyone celebrates Christmas. The whole world celebrates Christmas. Don't celebrate the holidays of the world. Don't eat what the world eats. Don't watch what the world watches. Don't be like the world.
Yeah. If you look like the world, taste like the world, smell like the world, and you are it, then that is what you are become. And you will never be set apart if you are not away from them. If you look just like the rest of the world, that is not the kingdom path. It's not going to make it at the end. And the road, Messiah told us about this narrow gate. There's a little tiny gate, and there's a path that is wide to destruction on the other side. Not to go to the left, we are not told to go to the right. We must have a solid state right down the middle of this, and that's going to put us at odds with the world. That is going to put us at odds with everyone around us for the majority of the time. And we had a brother this week that actually quit his job because he was unequally yoked. He was in and around those who are not Torah observant folks, and it got to him enough that he decided that he was going to make that change. And that change will bless him because of the actions that he did, because we are told to be with those believers who are of the same believing stature. If we head out with the nations, if we start, doesn't matter how it is, we're going to start being like the nations. And when you read scriptures from the front of the book to the end of the book, that is what they did. Joshua, right after Moses' day, Joshua made a deal with a couple of outsiders, and that whole thing right there messed up everything from the entire time. They ended up with all of these people, the outside nations in and around them, and it polluted them all the way beyond King David, beyond all the kings, beyond all of it. They were all polluted. They could never get rid of the hills that they were offering incense to that was not to our Creator. They could never get off of slaughtering to other Elohim. And it was a curse that they ended up with, that they went into captivity. All right, let's see. Jeannie says, what do we tell people who defend false teaching that all food is clean? Paul was talking about washing his hands. So that, Jeannie, that is where we have Leviticus 11. And that is the hardest thing, is because when we're talking about pork, that is the best thing. If anybody will ever soften their hearts and want to listen to it, then Leviticus 11 talks about it. It will tell you things. And, there's things like ravens and vultures and terrible things that when you look at say for instance, like a vulture, they don't have a lot of hair around their head, right? Because what they do is when they are taking part of a carcass, they dip their head in that carcass and they are built totally different, right? And there's no difference between a vulture and a pig. One's a sky pig and one is a pig. And they will both eat the dead. They will both eat nasty food. And the thing that folks will take away is that, number one, those who believe that Paul made food cling and that you shouldn't judge anyone because of the food they eat, it's completely out of context. First and foremost, when people are reading the letters that Paul wrote, the letters that Paul wrote are not to you. They were to a little assembly that had a lot of problems. And what we're doing is we're taking half of the communication. We have no idea what the first part of the communication was, and so we're taking a second part of it and we're making it doctrine. We're saying, oh, okay, Paul says all food is made clean. I had a guy on YouTube this week. He goes, yeah, Rabbi Paul and Rabbi Peter, they both said all food has been made clean. And I'm like, well, our Creator never said that, and His Son never said that. So at the end of the day, you're either going to be worshiping our Elohim Most High, or you have made Paul your God. And so I guess, Jeannie, the thing that you could possibly do if the people will listen is if they will look at Leviticus 11 and define what food is, that is the best thing, because when you're talking about food, I mean, if you say all food has been made clean, let's go down to the mortuary and grab a dead corpse and put it in a stew pot, right? It's going to be the same thing as anything else. If all food has been made clean, then why not a dead corpse at the same time? So it's one of those things that hopefully, we'll definitely pray for them, and we always do. And all you can do is pray. And my mom will not listen. My own mother, I talk to her all the time, and her fridge is full of pork. It's full of all of these bad things, and she just listens to what the Christians listen to. And it's going to be up to probably prayer and Yah softening the hearts of those, because when you are in the Christian religion, you become indoctrinated. You become believing things that are not scripturally based. And I grew up 30 some years in the Christian religion, and they tell you it's spot pick, right? You don't read the entire scriptures. You read pieces here, you read pieces there, and they will pull out Paul to prove a point, and people will get super, super sick on it. Did I miss anything, Miss Nicole, on chat?
No, I don't think so. Just Jeremy says many people take Paul out of context, and he explains what he means pretty much every book if you read them and not cherry pick it.
Yeah, and that is, and so you have to go through them, and you have to read the whole thing. And again, if you're reading a letter that isn't to you and you're taking advice that isn't to you, that's extremely dangerous. That's extremely dangerous. Yeah, my sister too. I will bring up Leviticus 11 and the dead corpse to her. Yeah, and yeah, if you guys can just get them to read Leviticus 11 or read it together with them, it's clearly defines what that is, and so maybe that would help. All right, do not walk in the manners of the nation. I think we did that. Let's go on to keep the feast of first fruits, Shavuot, and the Omer count.
Keep the Feast of Trumpets, Yom Torah. Keep the Feast of Sukkot, Shem Yatzeret.
If you blaspheme the name of Yahuwah, you shall be put to death.
If you kill your neighbor's animal, you must give him another.
Repay injury for injury. Honor the Jubilee year.
Confess your sins to Yahuwah and repay who you have trespassed against.
The Torah of being a Nazir.
Where's you on the four corners of your garments? The law of who touches the corpse.
Follow Yahuwah's laws of inheritance.
Torah of keeping your oath to Yahuwah.
Do not add or take away from the word.
Okay, and that's very important, guys. This one is one that I rest so much on all the time, because when you are in any modern day religion, if you're in any religion whatsoever, every religion that is out there has a set of what do we believe? How do we believe this? And if you are, number one, worshiping on a Sunday, on a first day, that's not the seventh day, right? We have a set apart time. And even when I was back in Christianity, we would go to church. We'd be there at 10 o'clock at Sunday school, and from Sunday school we'd go until 11 o'clock. Then we had church to 11. Then we'd go out to this place like Prime Cut. We go and we pay for all these people. I didn't know as a kid. My mom didn't know as a kid. We would sit there and celebrate it. We'd go home and watch TV and all this other stuff. That is not what set apart is. And so if we are adding to or taking away from the word, that means we have changed what the Sabbath days are. And when you look into it, it came from 325 years after our Messiah walked this earth, the Creed of Nicaea, where the Catholic Church made the statement that the Father and the Son and the Holy Ghost are all one, and that you could basically worship when you wanted to worship. And that is why things have been changed, and it's all man-made doctrines. And so All these things we have to be very, very, very careful with. And going on to that, it's with guard your soul. And that is the one and only thing that we're going to take out of this life. We're not taking money. We're not taking possessions. We're not taking our family with us. We are the one thing that we will have when we breathe our last, close our eyes, and it's game over, is we have our soul. And our soul is either going to go to a good place or it's going to go to a bad place. And there's no time limit on eternity. Eternity is forever. And so we have 120 years to find this road and to find this kingdom path. And if we do not find it in 120 years, if we are so involved with the world and we do not care about our soul, it's going to be a detriment to our life. Okay, learn to fear Yahuwah.
You shall love Yahuwah with all your heart.
You bind the laws upon your hand and the funds between your eyes.
Write the laws on your doorposts.
Do not tempt Yahuwah.
Do what is right and good in the sight of Yahuwah.
Do not be afraid of your enemies.
Remember Yahuwah.
Circumcise your heart.
Just cleave to Yahuwah.
Destroy graven images.
Do not make an idol of Yahuwah as the pagans do their Elohim.
Rejoice in all Yahuwah has blessed you with.
Do not do what is right in your own eyes.
Do not hearken to the words of false prophets.
Do not make any baldness between your eyes for the dead.
You shall not eat any abominable thing.
You shall give to a stranger clean for the diet of itself, but you shall not eat of it.
Okay, and going back to 127 there, where it says, you shall not eat any abominable thing. There is many times in scriptures when it talks about swine being abominable. That is not something that we are to do. In fact, the scriptures laugh at the people who eat the swine. It's a bad thing. Everybody in scriptures knows you should not eat the pig. Okay, you shall give to a stranger of clean food that dies of itself, but you shall not eat of it.
Give tithe of your increase of seed year by year.
Law is the end of the 7-year release.
Do not borrow from the nations.
Do not harden your heart, nor shut your hand from the poor.
Guard month 1 of Yahuwah's calendar.
3 times a year, all males shall appear before Yahuwah.
You shall make judges and officers in all your gates.
Do not plant Asherah poles near the altar.
There must be 2 or 3 witnesses.
Hearken unto the prophet Yahuwah has chosen.
Prophetess of Deuteronomy.
Do not remove your neighbor's property line.
How to deal with false witnesses among Torah keepers.
The first child is your double portions.
If your brother's cattle or his clothes are lost and you find them, you must return them.
A woman should not wear what pertains to a man, nor a man wear what pertains to a woman.
If you find a bird's nest with the mother and the babies, or eggs, take the babies, but not the mother.
If you build a new house with a flat roof that illy lived on, you must put a railing around it.
Do not be a prostitute.
Do not use dirty money.
The law of divorce.
Do not take a person's millstone for a pledge.
If you lend to your brother, do not enter his house to get your payment. He must bring it to you and return his clothing before sunset. That was his pledge.
Do not oppress a hired servant that is poor and needy.
Every man shall be put to death for his own sin.
Do not go back with a forgotten sheep in the field. Leave it for the fatherless, widow, and stranger.
Do not muzzle your ox when he treads out grain.
If your brother dies and has no child, you shall take his wife and name the firstborn after your brother.
At the end of 7 years, you are to read the Torah at the Feast of Sukkot.
All right. So as Mr. Eli here cues up the next section on this, guys, those are the laws, statutes, and commandments. And a lot of you will have the Christians that will say, "Oh, that's putting us in bondage." Well, which part? Do you want to drink the blood? Is that part of your thing? Do you have like a vial of blood or something in the fridge that you want to drink that you can't get through? What commandment? And that's what I always ask everybody when they come on YouTube and they're like, "Oh, the commandments are dead and gone. We don't have to do it." I'm like, which commandment offends you the most? Which is the hardest thing that you can't get through in all of this? And they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear anything. And to them, every commandment is gone, and every commandment is something that they don't need to keep. All right. And so as Eli is finding his spot up on top, what we are getting ready to read is we're getting ready to read Genesis 44. And so at the very top, we have the Targums at the top, and we have the Yah Scriptures at the bottom. And yeah, Jeremy's really clear on that. Yeah, you ask him, when people think that all food has been made clean, what about a dead rat? What about a cat? Something of that sort, and they just don't want to listen. And it's really going to be up to prayer. And I keep praying for my dear old mama. And I don't know if I will ever get through to her. And she was a victim of the 2019-2020 scamorama. And that's about all I can say here on YouTube. But she is, I have no idea how long her days are left. And as what she is, she lives this Christian life, and I cannot break through. And my greatest fear is that I'm going to lose her to the kingdom of hell. And it's unfortunate, but she just does not want to hear it. It doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what verses I do. I could quote her Psalm 119 all day long, and she doesn't care. And so these are unfortunate. This is what being set apart is, and it's very, very clear. Most of the people don't make it, and it's very clear. All right. So let us get into this and reading. And again, much love to you guys, whoever's joining us now or in the future. Thank you guys very much for listening in on this and for at least giving the commandments of our Creator a shot. And a lot of times a lot of people we offend right out of the gate, and we don't do. And we don't mean that the commandments are one of the most unoffensive things that you could ever have, because when you find the joy of them, you find the truth in them, and you will find life in them. And the life in them is that you will find this kingdom path, and we're not going to find as disobedient kids. All right, so here we go. Genesis 44. And we are in the book, basically the life of what's happening here with Joseph right now. And we're in the middle. Guys, give me a quick recap of where we're at, just for anybody this.
So how far of a recap?
Where are we at with Joseph right now?
So he got sold into slavery. He went with Potiphar. Potiphar's wife tried to do evil things to him. He ended up in jail for a while. He ended up getting out because of Elohim's favor, and now he is like second command of Pharaoh, because he was able to prophesy his dream for him. And now his brothers have come to Egypt, and they don't know who he is, but he knows who they are. He fed them, he put them all in order of their age and stuff like that, which family or which mother they were from, and he got to see Benjamin after like 30 years.
Right, and so right now he's in the middle of testing his brothers. All right, so here we go. And he commanded the one over his house, saying, fill the men's sacks with food, as they are able to bear, and put each man's silver in the mouth of his sack. And put my cup, the silver cup, in the mouth of the sack of the youngest, and the silver for his grain. And he did according to the word of Joseph, which he spoke. As soon as morning was light, the men were sent away, they and their donkeys. And when they had gone out of the city, not having gone far, Joseph said to the one over his house, rise up, follow the men, and when you overtake them, say to them, why have you repaid evil for good?
Okay, so the thing here is, like they already had money in their bags before. You would think maybe they would check their bags again, or like maybe they just like forgot something, but it's like, I would have checked my bag. If you want to check my bag, make sure nothing happened.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yah has his ways with folks. He definitely had his way with these kids. And when Eli and I are going to be reading one of the extracurricular books here after Shabbat, we're going to be reading it there. It's the book of Levi, the Testament of Levi. It's very, very clear that Yah had his way with them, and that this everything with Joseph, it was very instrumental to their life where it was prior to the life to where they all died. And every one of them had very kind things to say about Joseph when they were on their deathbeds. And so this definitely changed them and changed the way that they all were. Okay, and again, my apologies for our roof. It makes these sounds, and I'm sure it just sounds like a couple of drummers up there or something of the sort, but it's real loud in here. So hopefully you guys can hear us well. We're in 4, right? Okay. And when they had gone out of the city, not having gone far, Joseph said to the one over his house, rise up, follow the men, and when you overtake them, say to them, why have you repaid evil for good? Is this not the one from which my master drinks, and with which he indeed divines? You have done evil in what you have done. So he overtook them and spoke these words to them. And they said to him, why does my master say these words? Far be it from us that your servants should do according to this word. See, we brought back to you from the land of Canaan the silver which we found in the mouth of our sacks. How then should we steal silver or gold from your master's house? With whomever your servants it is found, he shall die, and we shall become my master's slaves as well. And he said, now also let it be according to your words. He with whom it is found becomes my slave, and you are innocent. And they hurried. Each man let down his sack to the ground, and each opened his sack. And he searched, with the oldest first, and with the youngest last, and the cup was found in Benjamin's sack. And they tore their garments, and each man loaded his donkey, and went back to the city.
Yeah, that's got to be a bad thing, because they know what's going to happen to their dad, and they can't lose Benjamin now.
Yeah, well, you remember in the extracurricular books too.
Yeah, this creates a war between
they beat him up all the way back. So they beat up Benjamin all the way back. The brothers were sitting there. What did you do? And so he's the youngest, and he's getting slapped around by the bigger brothers.
Yeah, and this creates a war between you don't read this here, but a lot happens here. Like people of children of Israel, they create war against the people of Mitzrayim, and they scream and stuff, and all the pregnant women have stillborn?
Miscarriages.
and they started like curtain shaking the ground. Like Naphtali's running through the cities, like Manasseh and Judah started
Pharaoh
fist
flopped
cuffing.
off his 70-foot chair.
Yeah. No, there's a ton of stuff. It doesn't go. We miss a tremendous amount of the particulars, and there's a lot of extra stories in the extracurricular books. All right, now we're heading to the Targums at the top, and again, I haven't read this, so I'm not sure what to. Eli and Nicole have. You're always finding something very interesting in Targums usually. Whether it be folklore or not, that's where we're here to decipher. Okay. And he commanded Manasseh, whom he had appointed intendant of his house, saying, "Fill them in sacks with corn, as much as they can carry, and put each man's money in the mouth of his bag." All right, now hold on here, because this says Manasseh, right? At this point, Manasseh would be what? 9 years old,
Yeah, I think so.
somewhere like this.
But Manasseh's the one who, in Jasher, he's the one who slammed a rock over the back of Judah's head to stop him from fighting Joseph.
Right. They realized, that Manasseh was the one that actually took care of Yehuda. And Yehuda was like, well, this has to be somebody from the family of Yaakov.
He was super strong
Yeah,
at his age.
He's like, yeah, this can't be. And so this is interesting. We don't know if it's his kid or another person named Manasseh. Okay, fill them in sacks with corn, as much as they can carry, and put each man's money in the mouth of his bag. And put my cup, the silver cup, in the mouth of the sack of the youngest, and his purchase money. And he did according to the word which Joseph had spoken the morning lightened. I don't even know what that means. Joseph had spoken the morning lightened. I know it must be like
I think there's supposed to be a period there because the capital left.
yeah, maybe Joseph had spoken. All right, so the morning lightened, and the men were sent away, they and their donkeys, and they had gone far from the city. When Joseph said to Manasseh, whom he had appointed the intendant of his house, "Arise, follow after the men, overtake them and say to them, Why have ye returned evil for good? Is it not that from which my Lord drinketh, and by which divining he divineth? That which you have done is evil." And the other version of this says, "By which divining he divineth," which said the exact same thing. And he overtook them, and spake with them all these words. They said to him, "Why does my Lord speak words like these? Far be it from thy servants to do such a thing. Behold, the money which we found in the mouth of our bags we brought to thee again from the land of Canaan. How then should we steal from thy Lord's house vessels of silver or vessels of gold? With whomever of thy servant it shall be found, let him be guilty of death. And we also will be slaves of thy Lord." And he said, "According to your words, let it be. With whomever it is found, he shall be my slave, but you shall be innocent." And they made haste, and brought down each man his sack upon the ground, and every man opened his sack. And he searched the beginning with Reuben, and ending with Benjamin. And the cup was found in Benjamin's sack. And they rent their clothes, but the strength of fortitude was given to them. And they laded every man his donkey, and returned to the city. Okay, now we're heading back to the Yah Scriptures at the bottom. And Yehuda and his brothers came to Joseph's house, and he was still there. And they fell before him on the ground. And Joseph said to them, "What deed is this that you have done? Did you and not know that a man like me indeed divines?" And Yehuda spoke, said, "What do we say to my master? What do we speak? Or how do we clear ourselves? Elohim has found out the wickedness of your servants. See, we are my master's slaves, both we and he also with whom the cup was found." But he said, "Far be it from me to do this. The man in whose hand the cup was found, he becomes my slave. And you, go up in peace to your father." And Yehuda came near to him and said, "O my master, please let your servant speak a word in my master's hearing, and do not let your displeasure burn against your servant, for you are like Pharaoh. My master asked his servants, saying, Have you a father or a brother? And we said to my master, We have a father, an old man, and a young child in his old age. And his brother is dead, and he alone is left of his mother's children, and his father loves him. And you said to your servants, Bring him down to me, and let me lay my hands on him. And we said to my master, The boy is not able to leave his father, for if he leaves his father shall die. But you said to your servants, Unless your youngest brother comes down with you, you do not see my face again. And it came to be, when we went up to your servant, my father, that we told him the words of my master. And our father said, Go back and buy us a little food. But we said, We are not able to go down. If our youngest brother is not with us, then we shall go down. For we are not able to see the man's face unless our youngest brother is with us. Then your servant, my father, said to us, You know that my wife bore me 2 sons. And the one that went out from me And I said, truly, he is torn to pieces, and I have not seen him since. And if you take this one from me too, and harm comes to him, you shall bring down my gray hair with evil to the grave. And now, if I come to your servant, my father, and the boy is not with us, since his own life is bound up in his life, then it shall be, when he sees the boy is not with us, that he shall die. So your servant shall bring him down, the gray hair of your servant, our father, with sorrow, to the grave. For your servant went guaranteer for the boy to my father, saying, if I do not bring him back to you, then I shall be a sinner before my father forever. And now, please, let your servant remain instead of the boy as a slave to my master, and let the boy go up with his brothers. For how do I go up to my father if the boy is not with me, lest I see the evil that would come upon my father? Okay, thoughts, anybody?
So here, and a little more in Jasher, that he doesn't let Benjamin go. He takes Benjamin to his house, and he shows Benjamin the stars of like heaven, like the stars showing like a little map and stuff. And then Benjamin figures out that this is his brother, because nobody really knows it outside of the people of Israel. So he's like figured out this Joseph stuff, and this is the point where like Judah starts like kicking Joseph's house door in to get Benjamin, and Manasseh and Judah start duking it out.
Yep. Yeah. So there's a tremendous amount more that goes into this, and I know a lot of folks don't like the extracurricular books. I think the extracurricular books, they may not be exact, but they definitely give us a lot more of the story, and a lot more things make sense when you have them. All right. So we'll finish this up here at the Targums at the top. And Jehudah and his brethren entered into Joseph's house. He was yet there, and they fell before him on the ground. And Joseph said to them, what deed is this that you have done? Could you not know that a man like me divining can divine? And Jehudah said to him, what shall we say to my lord concerning the former money? And what concerning the latter money? And how shall we be acquitted concerning the cup? From before Yahuwah, there is sin found upon thy servants. Behold, we are my Lord's servants, and he in whose hand the chalice hath been found. But he said, far be it from me to do thus. The man in whose hand the chalice has been found shall be my slave, but you go up in peace to your father.
I'm not sure about the section thing.
Yeah, I don't know either.
It just continues.
Okay. And Jehudah came near to him and said, I implore... What is he saying?
I'm imploring.
I am imploring my Lord, let thy servant, I implore, speak a word in the hearing of my Lord, and let not thy anger grow strong against thy servant. For at that hour that we came to thee, thou didst say to us, I fear before Yahuwah. And now thy judgments are rendered like the judgments of a prince of Pharaoh. My Lord asked his servants, saying, have you a father or a brother? And then the other version of this says, and Jehudah came near him and said, in beseeching thee, my Lord, let thy servant now speak a word in the hearing of my Lord, and let not thy anger be strong against thy servant. For at the time we came down to thee into Mitzrayim, didst thou not tell us, I fear before Yahuwah? And now thy judgments are returned like the judgments of Pharaoh thy Lord, by whom thou adjurest. Yet I am honorable as thou art, and my father is honorable as Pharaoh thy Lord is, by whom thou dost adjure. Can I not swear by the life of the head of my father and not lie? For if I draw my sword from within this sheath, I would not return it until I had filled all the land of Mitzrayim with the slain. To its sheath I would not return it, till I had made all Mitzrayim desolate of inhabitants, beginning with thyself, and ending with Pharaoh thy Lord, were it not against the will of my father. Or hath it not been heard by thee, or not told thee, what my two brothers Shimon and Levi did, who went up against the town of Shechem, while they were dwelling in security, and killed every male by the edge of the sword, because they had corrupted Dinah, our sister, who hath not been numbered in the tribes, nor hath portion or inheritance with us in the dividing of the land. By how much more then shall it be done for Benjamin our brother, who is numbered with us among the tribes, and who hath portion and inheritance with us in the dividing of the land? And in force is more unyielding than theirs, because I have become the sponsor for the youth at the hands of my father, saying, if I bring him not to thee, and set him before thee, I will be guilty with thee, and be removed from before thy salutation all the days. Hast thou not heard, or hath it not been told to thee, that in the land of Canaan we are kings and princes, as thou art? Okay. When Joseph the beloved and honorable saw that the strength of Jehudah his brother had risen up, and that the thoughts of his heart came forth, and that they rent their garments in that hour, beckoned Joseph to Manasseh his firstborn, and stamped with his shoe, and all Joseph's palace trembled. In that hour, Jehudah said, if it had not been on the side of the house of my father, it would have not been done so. Then became Jehudah to become milder in his words, and he said, my Lord, ask his servant, saying, have you a father or a brother? Okay, so this basically talks about Jasher right here. This tells you whatever happened in Jasher is a lot like what we just heard right here. So that does correspond with that. Okay, continue on. And we told my Lord, we have an aged father and a son of his old age, a little one, whose brother is dead, and he only remains of his mother, and his father on that account loveth him. And thou saidst to thy servants, bring him down to me, and I will set mine eyes on him for good. The other version of this says, my eyes shall be gracious upon him. But we told my Lord, the youth cannot leave his father, for if he leave his father, he will die. Yet thou saidst to thy servants, if you bring not your youngest brother down, you shall not again see my face. And it was when we went up to thy servant our father, we related to him my Lord's words. And our father said to us, return and buy us a little corn. But we told him, we cannot go down if our youngest brother be not with us when we go down. For we shall not be able to see the man's face unless our youngest brother be with us. And thy servant our father said to us, you know that my wife bare me 2 sons. One went forth from me, and I said, surely he is dead, and I have not beheld him since. And you will now take this other from before me? And if death happen to him, you will bring down mine age with mourning to the house of the grave. Therefore thy servant became surety for the youth with my father, saying, if I restore him not to thee, let me be guilty before my father all the days. And now let my servant remain. I beseech thee as the slave of my Lord, instead of the young man, and let the young man go up with his brothers. For how can I go up with my father, and the young man be not with us, lest I behold the evil that will strike my father through. All right, gentlemen, and for folks out there, that is the end of our reading today. And if anyone has any questions or anything in the chat, let us know, and we will be happy to answer to whatever our abilities are able to. And if not, I think we are going to close this out. And oh yeah, Jade, why don't you give us an Aaronic blessing real quick, please?
And Yahuwah spoke unto Moshe, saying, speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying, on this wise you shall bless the children of Yisrael, saying unto them, Yahuwah bless you and guard you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, and I will bless them.
All right. So, guys, we love you guys very, very much. We thank you guys for those hanging out. I just saw a new gal that came in, Sister Abigail. Much love to you, dear sis. Much love to everybody out there. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, that you guys have a wonderful time, and have a wonderful Shabbat. We love you guys very, very much. All right. What are we doing here, Eli?
What do you want?
Let's rend the heavens.
All right, then.
All right. We're going to rend the heavens, guys.
Oh, that you would rend the heavens and come down. Oh, that you would rend the heavens and come down. Oh, that you would rend the heavens and come down. Let the mountains shake, let the earth be moved, let the nations may tremble at your presence. Let your fire burn, let the waters burn, let your name be known to this generation, and come down. That you would rend the heavens and come down. Oh, that you would rend the heavens and come down. You restrain
All right, everybody, we apologize for that. That is the 10 pit bulls that just went rowdy. We had to break out the emergency muffins to get them quiet, and they are sitting there. Guys, we hope that you have a wonderful day. May Yahuwah bless you and keep you. May his light forever shine upon you. May you forever find his Torah and his laws, statutes, and commandments at the center of your life, and may you find the faith of Messiah Yahushua. We love you guys very, very much. Have a wonderful day.
All right.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.